starting with a question on area. So we've got two rectangles, one A and one B. I'm going to start by just figuring out an expression for the area of A. So the area of A is 50 multiplied by 2x, take 10. So if I expand that out, my expression for the area is 100x, take 500. I'm also going to need the area of B, so I'm going to figure out an expression for the area of that as well. That is 35 multiplied by all of x at 20. So if I expand that out, I end up with an expression that is 35x add 700. And then I need to go back to the question because we're told that painting A has an area 1,725 centimetres bigger than B. So that means I can write that the area of A is equal to the area of B adding on another 1,725. So I'm going to rearrange that. I'm going to take 35x from both sides, and that leaves me with 65x take 500 equals, and then I've just tidied up this side a bit, so 2,425. Add 500 to both sides, gives you 65x is equal to 2,925. Dividing by 65 to get what x is, and that gives you that x is 45. And then you just need to reread the question because we're specifically asked to work out the area of painting A, not just what x is. So you've got to take that 45 and sub it back into your area. So we said the area was equal to 50 lots of 2x minus 10. If I sub 45 in, then I've got 50. 45 times by 2 is 90, take 10. So what I'm doing is 50 times by 80, final answer, 4,000 centimetres squared. Next question is a bounds question. So I'm going to start by figuring out the upper and lower bound of D. So I've got 190 correct for three significant figures, so I'm going to draw my little number line and put 190 in the middle. The number that is three significant figures that is one down from 190 is 189. The one above is 191. That means that my lower bound is 189.5 and my upper bound is 190.5. And I'm just going to write that next to it. So upper bound is that one. Lower bound is that one. And then I'm going to do the same thing but for F this time. I'm going to put 25.7 in the middle. That's been rounded to one decimal place. So the number down from it is 25.6. The number up from it is 25.8. Go in the middle again. And that one is your lower bound. That one is your upper bound. And I'm just going to write them next to it again just to make it clear which one is which. So we are being asked to work out C to a suitable degree of accuracy. And in order to figure it out to a suitable degree of accuracy, you've got to know what the upper bound of C is and also what the lower bound of C is. So I'm going to start with the upper bound of C. And you get that by doing the upper bound of D divided by the lower bound of F, because you want as much as possible to begin with, and you want to split it into as few pieces as possible. And that gives you an answer of, I'm going to do it to a fair few decimal places, so 7.4269. I'm also going to do the lower bound of C. So you want to start now with the lower bound of D, which was 189.5. You want to combine that with the upper bound of F, which is 25.75. And that, to a fair few decimal places, is 7.35922. And then you're looking for something that that both of them will round to. So I'm going to start with 7, that's 7.4, it rounds down to 7. The lower bound also rounds down to 7. I'm going to try the next one. So the first one will round to 7.4, because 2 means to round down. The second one will round to 7.4, because the 5 tells you to round up. I'm going to try 2 decimal places. So for 2 decimal places, the first one rounds to 7.43, and the second one rounds to 7.36. So they're different. So I'm going to go back a step. I'm going to say that 7.4 is my answer. And it also says that you have to give a reason, and that's because both the upper bound and lower bound agree to the number of figures. Basically, you just want a sentence that says that they both round to the same thing. This question is looking for the area of the unshaded section. Now, we can't be very, very accurate because it's a curve. So what we're going to do is we're going to split it into trapeziums. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to focus on from 0 to 3, because it's a quadratic curve, it's symmetrical, so I can just figure out the area of that section and then just double it at the end. So I'm going to kind of split them into 3 trapeziums. It kind of looks like that. That's very badly drawn, but that's what I'm going with. I need to know the heights. So I need to know what is the y coordinate at 0, what is the y coordinate at 1, and so on. So I'm going to start by drawing a little grid, and I want the y coordinate that goes with 0, 1, 2, and 3. So when x is 0, I've got 9 take away 0, which is 9. When x is 1, I'm doing 9 subtract 1, which is 8. When x is 2, I'm doing 9 subtract 4, which is 5. When I'm doing 3, I'm doing 9 subtract 9, which is 0. So they're my coordinates. So I'm going to focus on this first trapezium to begin with, so between 0 and 1. So I'm doing the area between 0 and 1. I need my trapezium formula. So the formula for trapezium is half a plus b times by height. So I've got a half. My a is this length here from 0 upwards. So it's from 0 to 9. My b is the length from 1 upwards, which was 8. And I'm timesing it by a height. So the height is between 0 and 1, so it's just 1. If I simplify that out, you end up with 8.5. Next trapezium, so I'm going to find the area between 1 and 2. So again, it's a half. My a on this one is the height, so the y coordinate of 1, which was 8, added to the y coordinate of 2, which was 5, times by the height. Again, we've just gone between 1 and 2, so it's got a height of 1. Simplify that to get you 6.5. The last one is the area between 2 and 3. So a half. You want the y coordinate of 2, which was 5. The y coordinate of 3, which was 0. The height again has 1, and that gives you 2.5. So the area of the right-hand side of this curve you get from doing 8.5 at 6.5 at 2.5. That gives you 17.5. And then right at the end you need to remember to double it because you want both sides of this curve. So 17.5 times 2, which is 35. And actually on the mark scheme, because it's dependent on how many trapeziums you do, because you could split it up further if you wanted to, the mark scheme says you can have an answer between 35 to 36.